I had a interesting childhood. I was very lucky to grow up in South America, in Ecuador. I grew up the child of Chinese immigrant parents. So I grew up Chinese Latina, so I guess that's why my childhood was sort of a mix of both cultures. I got to sort of navigate between the Chinese part of my family, my home, and the Ecuadorian part of my life, which meant my friends, my classmates, my teachers, people in the community. I also had, I think, an interesting childhood because my parents liked to travel a lot, and sometimes they would take us, sometimes they wouldn't. And I also got to travel within the country because my parents were often away, so we would be left to be taken care of by relatives in other cities. So I got to experience different parts of the country as well. I consider myself very lucky to have grown up with such hybrid background. I think it was an interesting and also happy childhood. Sometimes, identity crisis would come in when I was trying to identify myself as a Latina or whether I needed to be Chinese or not. But overall, I really appreciate the fact that I grew up in such a wonderful place such as Ecuador. Because my parents were immigrants, they were told that for their children to get the best education, they needed to go to a Catholic school. At the time, Catholic schools were considered to be the top schools because they were academically rigorous and also because they provided a good set of values, but also connections. So my brothers went to an all-boys Jesuit school and I went to an all-girls Catholic school. I spent my entire elementary through high school career in a Catholic school. I received education from both nuns and teachers who were not in the religious order, learning everything from theology to evolution. So I really enjoyed the fact that even though it was a Catholic school experience, they actually did teach us a very well-rounded curriculum. I look up to my father, who passed away 15 years ago. And I look up to him because he's someone who taught us how to be citizens who were truly a part of their communities. He was someone who had immigrated to South America on his own. He only had a sixth grade education, and yet he was able to do a lot of things that you would think someone with a PhD was able to do. He gave speeches in Spanish, and that was not his first language. He mobilized people to raise funds to help people who had been affected by flooding or other natural disasters. He was someone who gave to his community a lot because he was appreciative of the community that had welcomed him as an immigrant. He taught us the value of traveling and learning languages and learning about different cultures and about interacting with people from different backgrounds and of being socially just and of being people who follow our dreams and our hopes and our aspirations and people who can eventually do something good for the community. I was a terrible teacher. When I started, I taught at Memorial Junior High School in Southeast San Diego, and I thought I was super cool, right? Because I was really young and bilingual, and you just feel that you are better than anybody else. But it was a humbling experience because the students taught me that I was not necessarily a culturally responsive teacher, that I needed to really grow as a professional, that I needed to be more mindful of the community where I was teaching. So it was a humbling experience for me to have suffered through the first semester. I had much more to learn, and I wanted to be more involved in the community and to learn about the community. And because of that, I believe my teaching improved quite a bit. One of my best moments as a teacher has been to see one of my former middle school students become a high school Spanish teacher. And she's not only a terrific Spanish teacher, but she's also a wonderful role model for her students and for my future teachers, as she is often a guest speaker in my classes and she talks about the work that she's doing. And whenever she talks about her work and the passion that she has for teaching, it always brings me to tears, because I remember her as a middle school student in my class being very curious about the world, and always with this willingness to help others and to teach. And now she's a teacher and a mother. We are very lucky to be teaching here at UCSD, and we're very lucky to have the opportunity to meet so many wonderful students who, like our PAL students, who not only are taking the class so that they can explore tutoring and mentoring, but also so they can expand their understanding of K through 12 issues and policy issues. So I really applaud our students for taking the opportunity to get out of UCSD and actually get to know the community. I'm Luz Chung. I am a lecturer in the Department of Education Studies here at UCSD. I'm also the World Languages Supervisor and the undergraduate advisor.